Okay, I'll repeat the question. Yep. Yes.
I know you're supposed to take breaks every once in a while, and some people say it's like every 8 weeks and some say twice a year. But you're supposed to give your body a break.
Okay, she's asking, are you supposed to take a break in between training sessions twice a year? How long are you saying that you were supposed to do that?
Well, I've heard different things, so I don't know what the...
Okay, farmers, 100 years ago, there was 3% obesity, and they walked 115 miles a week. 115 miles a week farmers, 3% obesity. In the United States today, we're creeping up towards 35% obesity. I'm not talking overweight, I'm talking obesity. And we're lucky if we can get people out 3 days a week, and that's a lot. My theory is 7 days a week, you should do something that heats your body up. And if you're a bodybuilder or a trainer or you're pounding your feet, I don't think that should be 7 days a week. Cardio, 7 days a week, as long as it's not pounding on pavement. I believe in cross-training. Your body needs to cross-train. You put a swimmer who knows how to swim on a cycle, and they're going to burn calories because they're using new muscles. Your body loves habit. It gets conditioned very easily. So I don't necessarily think, unless you're injured, you need to take it easy. If you cross-train, I don't really think there really needs to be a break. I don't. And I'm sure there's many fitness trainers that say you're supposed to, but if you're in high peak condition, you are eating clean, and you've been beating yourself up and you're a triathlete, yeah, I'd say take off for 3 or 4 days, 5 days after an event. But you should not be taking off more than a week unless you're injured. That's my opinion, because what's going to happen, you're going to have a hard time getting back, and if you don't really like exercise to begin with, you're not going to reap the benefits, and it's going to start the cycle all over again.
What do you think about programs like P90X? Is that
P90X, what do I think about that?
Is it really?
Okay, all right. One, it's expensive. Two, it's that particular situation. P90X is a bunch of videos. It goes for 90 minutes for 90 days about. It's got a fitness, it's got a weight training, it's got cardio, it's got yoga. I did it just to see what it was going to be like. You'll do anything in 90 days, your body will change. There's no doubt about it. If you are that kind of person that needs a 90-day fix, I think that's awesome. It wasn't for me. I don't like yoga. I've got joints that ache, unfortunately. I can stretch. I can't do yoga. I can't. And I don't have 90 minutes a day. I don't. But you can take parts of that, and you can do just the yoga. You can do just some of the weight training things. I think that's awesome. It didn't work for me, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work for everyone. I think 90-minute programs every day is a little much. But it does work if you're going, you do anything for 90 days, 90 minutes for 90 days, your body's going to change.
I want to start to cross-train a little bit. I've been doing step a lot, but I noticed that my knee is starting to ache.
Yep.
So I don't think that's the right exercise for me anymore. I've heard so many good things about cycling. I'd like to do that, but I just imagine that the weight that gets put on the knee, that would be not such a good thing.
She's asking whether or not cycling, she does step work, step box work, it's bothering her knee. She's asking if cycling does it. If the bike is fitting you properly, it will not affect you. If the bike is fitting you properly, it will not affect you. So cycling is probably one of the best things.
You always have to exercise in the morning. I mean, I already get up very early because
It's a good point.
I have to leave at 7 to be here by 8:30. I have to be out at 4 o'clock in the yard.
It's a good point. You're 4 times more likely to do it if you do it in the morning, exercise. You're 4 times more likely, otherwise the dishes look a lot messier on the table and you've got to do it. I do have clients that have OCD and they can't leave their house without everything done and they bypass their exercise. I say, you know what, the dishes will, I don't care about the dishes. You're more likely, but some people can exercise in the morning because they hate it. I can't exercise at night. So can you go out at lunch? I would do it at lunch. I've taken 2 pair of clothes to lunch and, I'm working out and then I changed again when I get back. There's the bonuses to training in the morning is that you'll burn fat faster. You'll tap into your fat stores faster because you haven't had a lot of food on board from overnight. But you'll bonk sooner because you don't have, if you're a long distance runner in the morning, it's not going to work for you. And if people say you need to eat breakfast, you need to get something on board. Well, if you have a half of an orange or a cup of coffee with cream and sugar in it, guess what? That's calories. You don't need a full breakfast to go out. But it depends on how far your training goes. So in the morning, you might bonk sooner, but you'll burn fat more quickly. If you exercise after 5, you'll have more food on board, It'll take you longer to get in your fat stores, but your body's heated up more. You'll be less apt to pull a muscle because you're already moving all day. Your body temperature's higher rather than in the morning. I don't know if that helps you, but you don't have to. I mean, there's pros and cons to both. It's mostly in your. I have another chapter in the book that says, what is your personal, individual style? You'll divorce your spouse before you divorce your personal style. Is your style a morning or not? What I've learned is you can't make a person be a morning if they're not. And I wouldn't be getting up at 4 a.m. either. I mean, I would get crabby, but I would build it into my lunch if I could. Another question back there. I don't mean to leave everybody out back there. Anybody else? Yeah? What's that? What? Oh, okay. Oh, the interval training. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Oh, I think that's fantastic. I think it's awesome. I mean, I did that boxing thing once and threw my shoulder out, so that wasn't for me. But that's fun. And group training obviously is always better. You always want to train with somebody that's a little bit fitter than you are, because then that makes you feel good to be more like them. Yeah, group training and interval training is fantastic. Very, very good, because your heart rate never goes down. Interval training is maybe, and I do that, you go on the bike for 10 minutes, then you might lift for a little while, then you go back on a treadmill, or you do sprints, then you slow down, or you walk faster. You take a mailbox on your street, and you go as fast as you can to the mailbox, even if it's just a nice stride walk, to get that stride going, because you burn more calories if you're working the heavier muscles, which is your buttocks and your legs. So if you can get that stride out, you'll engage more of those muscles, that need to be engaged. It wakes up your body. It requires more energy. The more energy goes into your fat stores. It says, come on, you got to cook. She's got the legs moving. So the whole thing, the Krebs cycle starts working. So the bigger the muscles that you work, the better. So they say treadmill or outside. Outside is always better because you're actually moving your body through space, whereas the treadmill assists you a bit, absorbs some of the shock, which is also good. But the bonus for the treadmill is that you don't have to worry about weather, and it is safer, but I don't like it because I need to be outside. That's just who I am. So there's pros and cons. It's your personal style. Anybody over there? Come on, give me a question. Yeah.
It's not really a question, but it's a motivator for the group. But we do run free programs at lunchtime, so everybody must know that we're running those with biggest winners. But we had someone who was worried about osteoporosis, and they've been doing this for a year. And this person just came back and they had over a 2.8 increase in body mass.
Okay, so well, exercise will increase your lean body mass, and I'll tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, for every 10 years after the age of 25, for every decade after 25, women will lose 5% of your lean body mass and men 3 to 5%, which means you could potentially gain 5 pounds every decade after 25, 35, 45. So in 15 years, without even changing anything or eating any more, you're going to slam on 15 pounds. Your body, thank God, hello, menopause and estrogen and all those hormones are going to affect your body. Your lean body tissue and your body mass, your bones start thinning out a little bit. Your metabolic rate is dependent on your muscle mass and your bone density. And if you don't have as much as that, your metabolic rate will drop. It drops naturally all by itself as we age. And someone would say, "Oh, I've got that pouchy tummy." It happens, but you can fight it. And the way that you fight it, you got to be smart. How do you be smart? You get yourself a plan, and you fight it. You don't have to be this way. And I'm telling you, it happens. You'll find at some point, guys and girls, you won't be able to eat what you used to eat as you get older. All of a sudden, you're like, man, I used to be able to pile on 2 burgers and no problem. It's nature. And, in order to stay thin, you'll see elderly people who never had a weight problem all of a sudden start getting rounded and, a little pouch going. Natural. And, of course, we're all headed that way. So you just try to combat it a little bit by keeping your lean body mass. And how do you do that? You don't have to join a gym, I'm telling you. But most women that I know can't do a push-up. Most women I know can't do any lower abdominals, especially if you had a baby. And if you can't do lower abdominal sit-ups, then you got to work on it. Because, those muscles have been stretched out from being a baby or not from being used, and you have to make it work for you. You have to make it work for you. Anything else? Yes?
There was one thing for me. I've been working out for, almost 25 years plus. And I hit a plateau last year where I was too tired. And I would set the alarm and I would hit snooze, and the year goes by. I was watching an infomercial, and the fellow Tony Horton that did the PX90, he also has a 10-minute workout. And he has this technique he calls a stack technique. And it's kind of akin to multitasking, he says. So I said, I got 10 minutes. So I've been doing it for 2 months now. So
How's it working?
Excellent. I'm already seeing results.
Good.
And it's just amazing for just 10 minutes. So that's kind of been my motto. Because some mornings I wake up and I'm like, And I'm like, I got 10 minutes.
Well, you know what? Maybe your model's just 10 minutes. Maybe one of your other models, maybe somebody who's not doing just 1 minute. But you got to get up and something's got to go right with your brain. Right when you wake up, you got to write it down. You heard those affirmations from people, other motivational speakers. You got to have the affirmation. Well, you got to have a slogan, in my opinion, because it's not going to happen by itself. It's just not going to. It takes energy. You choose to make the decision of which energy you're going to spend your time in. The energy that's going to work towards you, getting towards your goal and getting you happy, or the other energy just to settle it in. And right now is a pivotal point. I'm telling you right now, with the time change, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, and it's getting colder. These are all against Northeast people. But I think we are, I don't know where everybody else is, where watching me, if you're in the South or whatever, you don't have it as hard as we do because the inclement weather is tough on us. So I hope that your treadmill's not hanging closed for you right now. And if it is, then sell it and get something else that's going to work. I'll end by telling you if you really, what's that? Okay, I was going to say, I'm going to tell you what calories are burned the most by what exercise, but
Can you tell us what you eat in a typical day?
oh, I always get that question. I do. Everybody will tell you, anybody who asks that knows me, I eat an apple every morning. I don't eat breakfast. I eat coffee, cream, and sugar, so it might not be the most nutritious, but I'm not perfect. That's what I did. I can't eat breakfast. I can't stomach it. Never have, never will. So you can't tell somebody else to do what, the breakfast thing. You don't want more than 4 hours to go before you eat, though. In between meals, definitely. 3 hours are best. Make sure you're hungry. I eat an apple and peanut butter probably 10 o'clock in the morning as soon as I'm out of the gate. That's my first thing. I love it every day. Apple and peanut butter. I almost always have water-based soup for lunch. Some nice vegetables and some protein in it. I might make cabbage soup for myself with some nice chicken. I sometimes go to a Subway and go get myself a small sandwich, but I'll only eat half the bread. I'm not a big carb eater. I need to back off on the carbs, so I'm always concentrating on carbs. We'll always have another piece of pizza. Sometimes or another piece of fruit. Sometimes I eat a piece of pizza from work, occasionally, not often. By mid-afternoon, I'm pretty hungry, and I will have another cup of coffee. And then by dinner time, my husband cooks, and so I always have, thank God for him, I have some protein, a fish, chicken, and vegetables, and I pass on the carbs. I pass on the carbs until 7 o'clock at night. Then I've got something for a snack. And it might be anything. It might be a Twix bar, half of one. It might be popcorn. I want something at night, every night. So I built it in. And then I always have tea. Like right now I am trying to lose some weight, which is, I don't always have to lose weight because I usually don't need to. I can regulate it, but I'm having a little hard time. So right now I'm backing off and I'm trying to have just tea at night with a little bit of a treat. And if I go out, my big downfall was nachos. Love nachos, so I backed off on those. And if I go out to dinner, I'll always get filet mignon, and I'll have the vegetables, and I'll leave the carbs for my husband. And I don't eat dessert out. I try not to, but I'll eat, like I ate those little nerdy things that I threw with somebody. I'll eat more sugary things if I really need a fix. So